everybody, welcome back to Space Explorers. This time I'm here with Lewis, as always,
Hello.
but also Dr. Manish Patel. Hello, Manish.
Hi there.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Have you been to space before, Manish?
Not yet, still waiting.
Well, then you're going to
Waiting
have
for
a
his ticket.
wonderful time today on Space Explorers, because, Lewis, what game are we playing?
We are playing Space Engineers today, which is what's kind of like a sandbox, Minecrafty, start on an empty landscape and build your space stations or your spaceships and explore the universe.
Pretty much exactly what it is, except fiendishly complicated.
Yes, as it turns out.
So we're going to do our best to, cruise through the game a little bit, explore Mars, which Manish is very excited about, and you'll find out why in a second. In fact, let's start there. Okay, so we're on Mars. Look, the Martian sky.
There we go.
Yes. Is this what you'd expect? Actually, let me get outside first before. So
Rather than just gazing out the window.
open the Mars doors, and
Sweet little Mars atrium you have here.
here we are.
That's a nice view.
Yeah. So, first off, Manish, why don't you explain a bit about your relationship with Mars? Are you friends?
We are long-time friends. We haven't met each other yet, but we're trying to hook up.
It's like an online relationship kind of
It
thing.
is
yeah?
very much an online relationship. Yeah. So we're building things to go there to go and say hello, essentially. Little bits of kit to go look at Mars, say hello, and bring some stuff back.
And what's the name of the mission that you're working on?
The name of the mission is the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter mission. It launched in March in 2016, earlier this year.
And arrived, it had its orbital insertion very recently, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know who chose that term, but we arrived in orbit, inserted ourselves into orbit in mid-October. So we successfully got there, slammed on the brakes, and went into orbit.
And
around
what's
Mars.
the general purpose of TGO, the Trace Gas Orbiter? What is it there to try and do?
The orbiter is there to look for signs of life. So it's going to spin around the planet, orbit around the planet. It's not going to land, but it's looking for signs of life, signs of the existence of life in the atmosphere of Mars. So looking at it remotely if we can.
So looking for things like methane, isn't it? We're looking for trace amounts of gas like methane.
Exactly. So gases in the atmosphere that give away the clues that life is somewhere down there on the planet and has been expelling methane, if you like, in its day-to-day activities.
So is there anything here which might be expelling methane? Is this what you would expect from the surface of Mars?
This is kind of what we expect, yeah. Nice rocky terrain. The atmosphere is there. The sky is perhaps a little bit more dramatic than we would have.
Because it seems quite thin, the atmosphere.
The atmosphere is
here.
very thin on Mars.
Would you see a lot of the stars above?
The problem with Mars is there's a lot of dust in the atmosphere, so it's very hard to see a lot of stars. You can see some, though.
Which is why the sky on Mars looks pink rather than blue, right? Because there's so much fine dust lofted up in the air.
Exactly. So scattering the light and you get this nice constant sunset, if you like.
And on the Trace Gas Orbiter, your principal investigator, right? Your PI, your El Jefe on one of the instruments.
That's the one. I've been called worse than that, but yeah. Exactly. We have an instrument that we've built, sent up there, flown to Mars, and it's going to look for gases like methane in the atmosphere. It's going to point down at the surface, try and find these exhalations from organisms, hopefully.
And then as you orbit around Mars over a couple of years of the mission, you can build up a map. You can start spotting where methane on these other gases are in the atmosphere, where they might have seeped from.
Absolutely. So it takes us about 50 milliseconds to make a measurement, and we do that for several years continually. So by doing that, we build up this huge map of Mars over time, and we look at how it changes over time as well.
So Trace Gas Orbiter's only just arrived and started the very beginnings of its science phase. And I think you had some photos that we were able to show of the very first release from Trace Gas Orbiter.
Yeah,
so can you talk us through what we're seeing with these?
So this is the first images of Mars from this mission, which is kind of groundbreaking for us.
You saw it here first.
Exactly.
There you go.
Space Explorer audience.
Exactly. So these are fresh, hot off the press. These are images of Mars as we swing by the planet. We're not in our final orbit now, so we're swinging by really close, really fast. So we took some images quickly of the equatorial regions of Mars, so around the equator. This is what we're seeing.
And what sort of landscape is this? What is it we're looking at? I mean, you can see some craters in there. What else is there?
These are the wiggly things, are channels created, carved by water. We think these are the kind of back in the good old days where Mars had a thick atmosphere and there wasn't so much dust and there was plenty of water on the surface. Quite different to what we're seeing now, but this was millions of years ago.
This is a very, very ancient landscape that's been kind of preserved on the surface of Mars, but you can still see today.
Exactly.
So, while we're looking at those photos, I've hijacked a spaceship because I
Nice.
figured one of the things you have to do in this game is find resources and mine them. And what I was interested in is how this compares to, you know, the type of things you would expect to find on Mars. So I mean, I'm trying to. Usually these darker patches.
First
Is your
thing-
approach to driving just ploughing straight down to the ground with some jaggy things on? Yes, it
yes,
is.
Lewis.
It turns out.
No,
And
that's what we
do you have
need
a
on
point?
Mars.
This is feeling
Oh
very
God!
Armageddon.
Oh no, it didn't go well.
Do you know what your first
It didn't
mistake
go
was
well.
there, Cam?
Was it the-
It was flying straight down, ploughing to the ground with your whirly things in front of you.
I tried to slow down, but I think I sped up instead. See, this is why.
I think you need to go faster. I'd go
think- yeah,
faster.
I think it's
faster.
like driving over sand dunes. Everyone knows you've got to
mean-
take them first.
I mean, I really want to make a comparison to real life, but I'm just not gonna. I'm just not gonna. Like, one thing I think is really good about this game is in the survival mode, we're in the creative one right now. It's all about, you know, you need to be generating energy to power the various things on your space station to stay alive. So these are solar panels, obviously, and as you can see from the green dots, it's telling you how efficient they are being right now from the direction of the sun. So if we were to wait, I'm not sure how long it takes time to pass in this game, but if we were to wait till midday or mid-sol Earth moon.
Good
Where are we?
terminology.
Mars.
I like that.
It would have been good terminology.
You've
if I
been
hadn't-
Wikipediaing again,
if
haven't
I
you?
hadn't just called it the moon. Sorry. Mid-sol time on Mars, you would see 4 green dots to show that they are, in fact, harnessing, you know, working at maximum efficiency. But there's other things you can do. You can install generators. You can mine uranium to power those generators. In fact, if we
Because I guess one of the things you're going to want to do, and this is what ends up finishing up the Mars rovers we send, isn't it, Manish? That we have solar
Yep.
panels to charge up the batteries.
Uh-oh.
But there's lots of
It's all
dust storms on Mars which end up covering up the solar panels with just a thin film of dust. So
And you need Mark Watney to go there and,
and
dust
brush
them
them off
off.
with a broom, exactly.
So we know he's alive. Yeah, so what I thought we could try and do is try again at mining some resources. So this is the drill. I'm just going to zip
So
over
we've not
here.
landed a drill with any mission on Mars just yet, have we, Manish?
No, some of the NASA rovers have gone with small chorus, very small drills.
Little finger size, pokey in rocks.
Exactly. So this is just to get through that top surface of the rock, but not drill down into the surface.
Now, I think this is where we crashed the spaceship a minute ago. So let me land gracefully, bring out the drill. And
Looks
if
a
we-
bit dark where we are
Oi.
here, almost
There
if there's a
we
bit
go.
of moisture or something in the dust.
Well, I'm
and
wondering
soil.
if this is a mineral. So let me. I'm just collecting this. Now, if we go to our inventory, what do we? Oh, stone. Okay, just regular stone.
Let's see if we can find some iron
But
or something
see,
with
but I
the red
thought
colour of Mars.
the general rock on the surface of Mars. What do you call the rocky surface again? Is that
The regolith?
The regolith. Thank you. Is that not quite high in iron anyway? Would you not expect it to be iron oxide or something? Or
There is a lot of iron oxide, relatively speaking, but it's
Relatively.
mainly a basalt type rock. So it's like the kind of rocks you get on Earth in these volcanic environments.
What kind of mineral deposits would you expect to find on Mars? Do we know, or is that all?
We do. They're pretty boring in terms of it's not uranium, it's not your plutonium. Probably the most exciting thing is ice below the surface. That's probably the most valuable thing.
Which
that-
looks
that
like
we're
what we
gonna
might
find.
have on the
It's
top of the
funny.
sails.
Oh,
here.
a bit of loading in here. It's funny you said ice because yes, there is actually ice on the surface here, and I know because I tried earlier. You can actually mine ice.
That's
from
what
the
you
top
gotta
of the
do.
surface.
This is what's going to happen when we go to Mars. When we get people on the surface, this is what we're going to be doing: is mining ice, because that's the most valuable thing there.
And it's
Keeps
not
you
just
alive.
for thawing out to drink as water, is it? You can split that water into hydrogen, oxygen, and you've got
Absolutely.
atmosphere to breathe as well.
And it's fuel. It's the biggest thing we need to get people back from
That's,
Mars.
that's interesting because in the game as I plow into this, as I take a really close look at the ice.
Drill, man, drill.
There you go. Like
Some snowballs.
some snowballs. Because as I was saying, so it's interesting that ice is actually what you would use as a
Yeah,
fuel source. Because
exactly.
in the game, it's uranium that you need to mine from asteroids, and or solar cells and various things like that. But realistically, Manish, when do you think humans will actually be able to do this? I mean, maybe ignoring the jetpacks, but being around on the surface of Mars, exploring, doing hands-on science.
President Obama said we're going to put men on Mars in the 2030s. So that's
Okay.
the vision. Now, that never happens and it always takes longer, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be in our lifetime. They're going to be there. And all the difference is now, companies like SpaceX,
Yeah.
they're not going to
It's
mess
the
around
private
like
corporation.
you think
taking
it's-
it. It's
yeah,
Elon
maybe-
Musk and his
Exactly.
clan, yeah.
So you think we're going to get like Mars brought to you by Coca-Cola type thing?
Yeah,
commercial
exactly.
companies are going to be the
Exactly.
first there. Okay. I mean, and how does that make you feel as a scientist? I mean, are you just kind of as long as we get there, or do you Yeah, how do you feel?
As long as we get there and as long as we are part of it, that's great. What you don't want to be doing is sending a load of people to Mars who then
Just start contaminating everything.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Because Elon Musk has said he'll land one of his Dragon capsules 2022, is he talking about? 2020 maybe?
Yeah.
In a couple of years' time. And so basically all the scientists now scrambling to try to let him take their experiments with his capsule and try and get on board the private ventures as well as the national ventures.
Yeah, it's the way it's going to happen, though. That's where the money is, so that's the way it's going to happen.
All right, guys, I thought as the sun sets, we could quickly build a spacecraft. So there's a lander. Now, we should put some... actually,
We got a one-legged hopping
I'm
spacecraft.
going to engage my... Whoa! Hello. I think
Nice and
I think
close.
my dampeners are off again. Is that the problem? Yes, that was the problem. Okay, so we need some kind of body to the ship now because we have a foot. Now I think I can place multiples somehow. No, that'll do. So Manish, have you ever built a spacecraft?
And we're not meaning out of Lego.
Yeah. Although if you have, that would probably help.
I'll change my answer now. No, I've built the instruments that go on the spacecraft that go there to measure.
And TJ's just the latest mission you've worked on, haven't you? You've been involved in a whole suite of different space missions across the solar system.
Yeah, so another one to Mars, Beagle 2, and also the Cassini-Huygens mission to Saturn and Titan, the moon around Saturn.
So certainly you've had more experience of building things that are meant to fly in space than either myself or
Then
Lewis.
either of us monkeying around right here.
I find it surprising.
Why are you even in control of the mouse
I
right now?
don't-
You should be
oh,
ripped,
no.
ripped out of your
I just-
death-like
just fell
grasp.
I just placed an errant block on the floor. I seem to be making a finger, like a hand that's like pointing. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. But I was trying to make a symmetrical base for our ship because there's basically, if you're gonna power a craft, I suppose, Manish, there's certain things that you always need, right?
Yeah, exactly. There are systems you need, thermal systems. You need to create heat somehow, and then you usually use some kind of reactor to do that.
Well, you mean a small reactor?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you
That
go.
was
There
convenient.
you go.
Well,
there you
Almost
go.
as if it had been primed.
I'll give us 4 because
Should
you
be
never
enough.
know.
Should be enough.
All right, so what else do we need? We need some sort of thrust-giving
Do we
device.
need some kind of propulsion? don't
maybe
we?
like a thruster.
You got to move somehow, so yeah, you need a thruster.
So we have a large ion thruster and a hydrogen thruster. So what's the difference between an ion thruster and a hydrogen thruster?
So the hydrogen thruster is a typical one of big engine, or an engine burning fuel to move you along, like you see on a jet engine type thing. The ion thruster is a new type of electric thruster. It spits out a very small stream of gas, which is created through electric technology, and then that gives you a very small push.
But you can have it on for weeks and weeks and weeks rather than just a
Exactly.
couple of minutes like you do with a standard rocket.
So the chemical rocket you burn for a short time really powerfully, like a firework, and the electric one you leave on like I don't know, a sort of small electrical appliance just in the background, going for a long time, and that's how you move around with that one.
Gotcha.
And we sent missions to the moon using iron.
Yes.
I mean, this is basically TIE fighter, isn't this? Straight out of Star Wars.
It's
twin iron engine. We
there
used
you
iron
go.
engines to
There you
reach
go.
the moon.
So, I mean, what would you recommend for this craft? I've been attaching hydrogen thrusters all over the shop. but-
That's what you want for something this big. You want something meaty.
Okay.
Now, dude, I don't want to be unnecessarily critical,
Go on.
but are we sure all of our thrusters are pointing the right way?
Well, no, well, actually, so I was watching a tutorial on this earlier.
All right.
I'll have you know, Lewis. And I was advised by the tutorial maker
to have some of them pointing
thrusters
straight back
pointing-
into your own spaceship.
Thrusters pointing in every possible direction.
All right.
To give you full.
I was just asking.
I would avoid the ones that will burn a hole in the side of your
blasting
spacecraft.
at our own
but-
ship. Well, I think we should just see what happens.
Maybe
guys.
that's for the warming.
Maybe
that's
we'll
so you
just
don't get too cold sat in your cockpit.
Maybe we'll see what
and
happens.
take some marshmallows along with you.
So, hey, this isn't going anywhere. Oh wait, no, I know what we need to do. Need to disengage the landing gear. Oh, what's going on?
There we go.
Did we put thrusters on only one side?
Well, actually, we don't seem to have any power. I don't know why. We just
We've got the generators. and
Generators.
We
everything.
just need
Green?
to topple over. Maybe I haven't connected them in the correct way.
So we've tried our hand. I mean, it does look quite pathetic.
Hey,
it is
I
a little
mean,
pitiful.
wait,
And we've tried our hand at making a spacecraft.
Did I not make that symmetrical?
I think it. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just the angle
I
we're
don't
looking
know.
at.
I'm just wondering
But
why it toppled.
Something's a bit screwy. I wonder if we didn't connect up our rocket thrusters to the fuel
I think
source
that's
or
probably what we didn't do.
So we've tried making a spaceship.
Yeah.
We didn't do too badly, I suppose. But what else can this game this game do? What else does it offer for
That's a good
people
point.
playing?
So actually, the main part of this game is not just running around on Mars building spaceships that don't work. The main part of the game is actually a survival aspect to the game. So let's try that. All right, so guys, I've brought us into what's called Lone Survivor, which means we are absolutely alone on this basically platform in space. But don't worry, it's attached to an asteroid. And the theory is that this asteroid should contain
everything we would need.
Well, maybe not everything. Some of the things we might need to start. Now, as you can see, this time our energy and oxygen is already depleting. We do have over here, though. This is what we've got at our disposal. We have what's called a medical room. This kind of thing here, which if we go into it, it should. Well, actually, first off,
we can repaint
choose
ourselves.
Our color.
Most important.
What color would you like?
Straight
Manish?
in for the purple.
I like a good purple.
A good purple. All right. Now we're ready. We've got a certain amount of energy, which this station, for lack of a better phrase, can have. And if we have a look in our nuclear reactor, I do believe that we can see we have a certain amount of uranium in here, but apparently that's not going to last very long. So what we need is to go and get some more uranium using our hand drill, or if we see a spacecraft, we can go and board it and use our gun. Allegedly, we should be able to see if we can find some resources in this. If we equip our hand drill, apparently it should allow us to. Aha!
There we go.
So there we go. So it's detecting that we have iron here, but what we need is uranium. So we need to keep
some
our
iron,
eyes
some
peeled.
magnesium.
We need to keep our eyes peeled. Now, apparently it's a kind of dark shade. Oh, come on.
Would it necessarily be on the surface, or might we need
it
to,
might be
to
within,
dig underground a little bit?
But it'll be a bit of a wild goose chase
Right.
unless we find the uranium.
Find a seam on the surface.
I was watching a tutorial of someone doing this earlier, and there was just no uranium on.
Well, that's no fun
their
at all.
starter asteroid. Well, there's definitely no uranium on the surface of that asteroid, but don't worry, there's another one just there. So we're gonna take
Let's leap to it.
a giant leap into space. Interestingly, you seem to fall.
Oh, right.
Excellent.
And I don't know why.
Yeah, the physics isn't quite right there, is it?
Was that to do with our inertial dampeners? Maybe that was why. Inertial
they on or are
dampeners
they
was
off?
making us fall. So I've turned them off, and now I'm just accelerating towards this asteroid. And if we
So we're going about
turn
100
around,
meters
you can
a
see we're
second.
going pretty fast. And because the dampeners are off, when I can turn around, and it doesn't change our trajectory too much.
All right,
Yeah,
all
there
right.
you go. We've almost traveled 2 kilometers. I have no idea how far this one is away. Or alternatively, there's this thing over here.
Ooh,
I don't know what that
a
is.
spaceship?
It does look a bit
Shall
more
we try
shippy,
this?
doesn't it?
Should we try this thing? Because maybe they've got uranium.
We could go and ask nicely.
Yes.
With our gun.
With our gun. We're getting there. So I think the way to brake without plowing directly into it is to enable the
Use your drill.
inertial dampeners. Or use the drill. Just drill a hole.
Worked so well last time.
Okay, let's get a go in first person. Here we go, guys. Is that a spaceship or is that an asteroid?
It's just a bobbly bit of asteroid, isn't it?
okay.
Oh, I am disappointed.
I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna.
I've got a good feeling it's
engage
uranium
the-
on board
I'm gonna
this one.
engage the inertial dampeners now.
Oh, it's got a great big hole in the middle of it as well.
Stop. Hey, there you go. That kind of works.
What's there?
I think it's just an asteroid. I say just one that's been kind of mined, perhaps.
Yeah.
Someone
The
someone
dried
beat
up
us to it.
husk left behind.
Well, let's have a look anyway. It may have uranium.
I
Don't
can't
worry.
help but feel this game has got the better of us.
I think
in
I
this
kind of feel
particular
like
one.
it has, but I think there's certainly been a lot to talk about, and we can end by taking our helmet off in space. Although it's interestingly, the game doesn't actually animate this; it just says helmet off. I mean, we've actually survived in quite a long time with our helmet off in
Yeah,
space. Is this
yeah.
longer than you would expect?
Okay?
We'd
so,
have about a minute before you lost consciousness, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before the oxygen in your blood didn't get to your
Well,
brain.
that's
There's,
about right.
there's not a lot of video evidence of this kind of stuff. Some stuff happened during the Cold War, which is no longer shown. But yeah, you would have a little bit of time, quite similar to what you had then, and now it's game over.
Yeah, game over.
But you wouldn't freeze solid like happens in kind of classic sci-fi series.
No,
Because you're in a vacuum.
no.
You're actually pretty well insulated
Yeah, exactly.
if you're in space without your spacesuit on.
So is it just the asphyxiation, the lack of oxygen?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
would
I
kill
mean,
you?
just the
I see,
asphyxiation,
Joe.
exactly.
It's
Well,
just-
any air in your body would expand pretty rapidly and try to get out as
I
quick as
see.
it can from any route possible out of your body. So
He says, raising his eyebrows menacingly.
I'm terrified, so I think we should end this particular playthrough there. Well, I thought that went disastrously. Really, but that was
I think
kind
there are a
of
number of adjectives we could have used.
that was
there.
kind of my fault. There's a reason that I don't work in the field of space exploration, but Manish does, and And you were a huge help, though. I feel like we've learned a lot about what exactly we would be looking for on Mars in terms of life.
I think if you can do that game, you can go into space easy.
You think this should be part of the training?
I think it should be.
Okay, good. And how was Mars? Was it everything you dreamed it would be?
It is, and I'm very, very glad to have experienced it.
Yeah, he's not going on holiday with us again. He's had enough of that.
Would you actually go to Mars if we actually asked this to our last guest as well? Would you actually go to Mars if you were given the opportunity?
I would. You'd have to talk to my wife and my 2 children.
You can take them to.
I'm not proposing it, by the way. I don't have a spacecraft, as you can plainly see.
I would go there in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why'd you say that so confidently?
Well, it's the undiscovered country, right? It's where no one's gone before. I would love to do that.
And you take it even as a non-return mission? Do it as a one-way trip?
That's a different story, I think. The risk in going there 2-way is high enough. One way is a different story.
Well, I mean, this is why Elon Musk was talking about retiring on Mars, I guess, isn't it? Put all the risk at the end of your life.
Exactly. That's a nice place to go
at
the end of your life.
Next up, we have Abby Hutty, who will be talking to us about Kerbal Space Program. So I hope to learn a lot more from her about how to do this for real. Yes. And if you have any questions for Abby, send them in the comments below.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be having her on in a few weeks' time on Space Explorers. But there's actually, if you would like more from Manish, don't worry, because obviously we have our second Q&A video. That's where we put the questions that you guys have asked already to Manish. He'll do his best to answer. So that's on the channel right now. If you'd like to go and watch that, you can do. But guys, thank you so much. Lewis, great to have you on again.
Cheers.
Manish, thanks for coming along and for guiding us through our haphazard adventure on Mars.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun, and I think we all learned a lot. And also, I should never be allowed to build anything. But thanks for watching.
See you all again.